At a later stage today, I will move for the suspension of standing orders to enable me to take second reading of this bill and in order for it to be taken through its concluding stages.
Thank you. Petitions, papers, reports from committees, notices of motions given orally, questions and answers to questions, motions that may be made at the commencement of public business requiring notice, motions relating to the sitting of the Senate, motions for leave to introduce bills, the presentation of bills without the leave of the Senate first obtained, public business. Minister, before you begin, may I just indicate that the clerk is out ill, and I'm sure that you all would require that we wish her a speedy recovery. I don't think it's anything serious, some sort of flu or something. Yes, Minister, public business.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, it is intended today to proceed with the Compulsory Acquisition Shares in Petrojam Limited Act 2019. So I wish to move for the suspension of standing orders to enable me to take second reading of the bill, notice of which I gave earlier, and for it to be taken through its concluding stages.
I'm really flabbergasted at the fact that this bill has been tabled in the Senate today and is being proposed to be taken through its concluding stages. And, Mr. President, I don't understand the urgency for this piece of legislation to be tabled and debated today, because on previous occasion accommodations have been made because bills that are linked and are targeted to the quantitative benchmark on the IMF program, accommodations were given to those bills. But we are yet to understand from this side why it is that there is this rush to table the bill and take it at the same time. And come to their position. We are the review chamber of the parliament, Mr. President, and so we cannot afford to be treating the parliament with such contempt. It cannot work, Mr. President. And moreover, Mr. President, I have heard discussions elsewhere in the media, which is speaking to some issues relating to the bill. And if those utterances in the public media are correct, if they are correct, then I can't see how we are going to rush through this bill today, because, Mr. President, I am blinded once, and I am not going to make anybody blindfold me twice. Because the truth is, Mr. President, matters of the state ought to be treated with respect. And I want to get the opportunity, to peruse the bill, to check with the arguments that have been expressed elsewhere, and come to an informed position on a bill of this magnitude. It cannot be, Mr. President, that we are going to be tabling this bill today and take it. And the opposition that has been mandated to defend the Constitution of Jamaica, we are not going to condone it, Mr. President, and we're not going to support it today. We're not going to support it.
Senator Morris, the only observation I make is that this is certainly not the first time that bills are laid and taken on the same day. The piece of legislation, the legislation that is before us is not by any means a document that is particularly lengthy. And anyway, I'm going to put the question. You have an objection. The standing orders permit this process, and it requires me to put the question, and if you object to it being done, then you can vote against it. Go ahead, Senator Brown.
President, some motion on the floor to suspend the standing order, and I claim my right as a senator to speak on any motion.
I'm not saying that you can't speak on it. You
Good,
don't get up with such a
Once we're
defensive
clear
mode.
on that.
You are entitled to speak to it, and I'm entitled to put the question when you are finished speaking to it, or whoever wants to talk to the motion.
I
You are entitled.
appreciate that we're at one on that. Mr. President, I believe it is Standing Orders 24, which requires a certain time to pass after bills are laid in the Senate before debate and deliberation. And there's a reason for that. As Senator Morris has said, this is a review chamber. We must be given the time to do that review. When we have regard for this bill before us today, which we have just received in this House, we must recall that in the Senate, Senator Knight, myself, have called constantly for a statement from the minister. We were promised the statement, and we didn't get the statement. Promise broken, and we didn't get the statement. And now, without informing us of the issues, we're getting a bill today to approve today. That can't be. It's not acceptable. So that the minister, the same minister who had a press conference on or around the 8th of January, the same minister who invited to our office selected journalists before that press conference, briefed them on the Venezuelan development and what was to come, and asked them not to reveal the discussion before Monday, because I think that briefing was on a Friday. So we in the Senate have asked for information. It hasn't been brought to us. But now we're getting a rush bill. In the other place, request was also made for statements. Never came. So why are we now to be given a bill to debate when in the other place they got a whole week? They got a whole week to debate it. But we, the review chamber, must minutes, not hours, minutes. It can't be acceptable. In another case, Mr. President, involving matters of the independence of the Senate, I speak of the Arthur Williams, Andrew Williams case. One of the judges made the point. The duties of the senators are to deliberate by debating and voting on any bill, law, or policy that affects the welfare of the citizens of the country and the good order of society. The nature of this duty, the judge explained, necessarily involves the need for a senator to be free to share his or her views, beliefs, opinions, and to seek to persuade others. Not signing pre-signed letters. Never did on this side. And never will. And the key, yes, MOUs, of course. And I want to make it clear that what we are facing today is an attempt to undermine the independence of the Senate. It must not be allowed. And so I'm opposed to the motion to suspend the standing order. I want to make it clear. This Senate is not a rubber stamp of the executive. This Senate is not a rubber stamp of the cabinet. This Senate is not a copycat of the lower house. This Senate is given its position in the Constitution of Jamaica to play a certain role. And to undermine it by pushing through a bill so important to the national state within minutes is not acceptable. Mr. President, you have said that the bill which we just get is a short bill. It could be one clause. This is a complicated bill. This is a complicated bill having to do with international financing, having to do with relationship between two countries, friendly countries. Yet an hostile act is being taken. Now you tell me that this is a short bill? This is a short bill that could destroy the reputation built by our country over many years. This bill following on Jerusalem vote could be the straw that breaks the camel back. Jamaica being that camel with our great reputation for honesty and fair play in the international field. So I have a problem with being asked to debate a complicated bill. A bill which the Attorney General says, oh, it's constitutional. Well, I've heard her said that in the Senate here about other bills that the courts found unconstitutional. I speak of the bail bill. And then Senator Knight, Senator Nicholson, and Senator Golden told her the bill was unconstitutional. She said, oh, let us experiment. Well, we experiment and the court said it was unconstitutional. So I can't take a bill with potential constitutional implication and not be given the chance to read that bill, to analyze it, to discuss it with experts, and to come back here. I need time, at the minimum the time required by the standing order. I am not in for a suspension of the standing order. Mr. President, this bill that they're asking us to take within minutes of the table in it has far-reaching impact on the future of our nation. Will we be seen as a pariah nation where our children will be told, your government stole the property of another country? Because that's what expropriation is going to be. In other words, under this bill, it will appear from what I heard elsewhere that the government may even be able not to pay for the shares. And that is why I need time to study this bill, to be satisfied that this government is not going to be stealing other people's property and asking the legislature, the Senate, to approve it. Right? I want to make that very, very clear. I oppose the motion because when I say it has far-reaching implications, it's not just me who say it. The minister in her briefing to the journalists indicated that. The Prime Minister on Tuesday spoke about the implication for the country and it could affect his government. So for the second time I'm hearing through the Prime Minister's mouth the fear that this government have, that how they handle the issue of Petrojam's shares could impact their government. Their government. So, for those reasons, I'm not into rushing this bill. True. The senators must be given a fair chance to consider so we can properly advise and consent. Mr. President, another reason why I'm opposed to this bill is because they are
Opposed
opposed
to
to
the
the
bill?
resolution, the
Opposed.
motion. Opposed, thank you. You are alert and sharp, Mr. President, as usual. I'm opposed to this resolution to suspend the standing order because in recent days and hours, there have been a dispute, a conflict, concerns about valuation. Valuation which is critical to the sale of Petrojam. It is so bad, Mr. President, that one minister of the cabinet, a senior minister, the Minister of Finance, got up in the House and denied that there was a valuation done for 2017. The Prime Minister had to say, and this is in response to former Minister Bunting. And it's interesting that the Minister of Finance was not aware of that valuation. If the Minister of Energy, newly minted, was not aware to the point that she came with a 34 million valuation.
Senator Brown, you know what you are doing? You're actually debating
No,
the legislation.
I'm sure giving reason why I'm opposed to the motion.
Hold on a little bit. I have taken note of the serious concerns that you have. There is a motion before the Senate that the standing orders be suspended in order for the bill to go through its several stages. So I'm going to ask you, we have taken note of your position, and I'm going to ask you to conclude so I can take the vote if any other member wishes to speak on the motion.
The standing order gives me 30 minutes to speak on motion. And I demand my
but,
right.
But speak to the motion.
No, I'm speaking to the motion as to why I am in opposition to the standing order being amended. And I will not be muzzled. I wish not to be muzzled. Right? I wish not to be muzzled. The courts have said that as a senator I have a right to speak on the matters of welfare, and this motion that is being put will have dire impact on the people. When I come, I will come to the bridge that you speak of after. But what is important to us is the reason why I'm opposed to this. I'm opposed to it because of the problem with the valuations, where the government itself, it seems the Prime Minister never shared with his cabinet the valuation for 2017, which he admitted in the lower house that he had, and for which the Minister of Finance said he didn't know that it exists. And so I am concerned about that. I'm concerned, Kitty, don't even take him on. It's not work. So I'm concerned about the senators being called upon to do a debate on a bill just tabled this morning, but it hasn't given us a chance to look at the 2018 valuation, the 2017 valuation. It doesn't give us a chance to ask, what the hell is this thing about workers losing their jobs, Senator Gill? 70% of workers losing their jobs? The refinery becoming a distribution terminal rather than a production facility. The senators need to be given the background to do that and to come to debate so we may advise and consent. And we have not been given the opportunity to understand, to research, and I know, Mr. President, that the argument is going to be put that this is an urgent national issue why we must suspend the standing order. I want to ask, if this is an urgent national issue, Why hasn't the government called in the opposition and sit down and say to them, here are the facts. Let's work together on this. If it's an urgent national issue, that hasn't been done. The opposition leader was never called and said, here are the facts, let's talk about it. So it seems to me it's a partisan rather than a national issue that is involved. If it's a national issue, why hasn't the social partners, the private sector, the unions, called in and discuss that here's a national issue, we want a national approach to it? That hasn't been done. Statements hasn't been made to us as requested. Why the rush? Why the rush? And what is to make it worse, Mr. President? I have heard, which is why the debate mustn't start today, I have heard the introduction of partisan issues rather than national issues by the government. I have heard about who is responsible for reduction in valuation from 170 to 34 over 12 years. As if in those 12 years the government wasn't there for 7 years. So the partisan issue has been introduced by the government side. It's not a national issue requiring our support. Had it been a national issue, they'd have called the leader of the Senate and say, we have this situation here. Let's discuss it. Leaders are available absent today. But to the best of our knowledge, there's no discussion with her to say, are you prepared to waive it? And yes, Mr. President, in the past we have waived the standing order, we have suspended it, but it has been through dialogue. Dialogue, not the imposition of a majority. I know you don't know, but I know. I know. I know. I know. I know. So I'm not aware of any discussion taking place. So I can't see there is a national urgency, but you don't have any discussion with us. You just chuck it on us this morning with the bill. Table and say you want to debate this bill. The tyranny of the majority will always succeed temporarily. And I urge not to try and utilize the tyranny of the majority in suspending the standing orders today. I urge us to give the Senate time so we can have the debate. Nothing will change in the next week. Nothing will change in the next week if this bill isn't passed. Nothing. Because you can't pay a cent out to anybody. You can't pay a cent out to anybody. Because you have said that you can't pay. And nobody accepting money. Right? So I am asking, Mr. President, for this motion not to be carried. I'm opposed to the resolution at this point, and I want to make it clear, Mr. President. Often we hear, oh, it is patriotism. We don't love Jamaica. I love Jamaica like NIO. I love Jamaica so much so that I don't have a passport. So much I love Jamaica. Passport expired, I don't renew it. Don't have no US visa, don't apply it. Don't have no American visa, no French visa. I love Jamaica. So don't come and beat me up, say, I'm against Jamaica interest. I love Jamaica. I will concede you probably love it more than me. But the Jamaica I love, why I'm opposed to this resolution, is a Jamaica that is fair. A Jamaica that is just. A Jamaica that does what is right. We cannot be like the children, the parents, whose children is out there doing wrongs, and they defend it because it's my son who did it. No! Parents must show responsibility, and Jamaican government must show responsibility. We must show responsibility. We cannot allow the Senate to be abused and the standing order to be overturned by the majority to take a bill for which we are not being prepared. I'm sure many of us have not received the bill and decide until now. I urge you, Minister, I urge you, just as you briefed those journalists, selected journalists, because I know you did. I know you did. I know the time and everything. Just as you were there in the meeting?
No, we didn't know that.
You were there?
No,
So, just as you did that, give us two the time. Give us two the time in this Senate. Do not move this thing. Your Prime Minister said he was waiting on a phone call. Give him the extra week to wait on the phone call. Give him the extra week to